Yo, what is up, you guys? It's K8 here, and welcome to Part 8. So, let's get started. Alright, so we are back in Ableton, and we did something kind of interesting. So, the reason why there was a delay in the days that this came out is because I was going to put these videos out on Monday. And when I was rewatching them, when I was editing these videos together, I realized that a lot of Part 3 was just very boring stuff, like me changing presets and things like that. So once I was done with that part, I realized I could redo that video by simply just explaining what I did, and then we could try something new. So let's do that. So I did make a lot of changes, so this is what it sounds like now. So it's not done or anything, but a lot of things did change, and it was kind of hard to show that all because really I didn't do any sound design or anything. I just kind of swapped out presets and things like that. So things that took a lot of time to find the right one, but really we're just skipping over like 15 minutes so I can explain it real fast. So with this top layer, I changed it out for a preset that I made a long time ago called K8 Key Darkroom, something like that. And basically it's just kind of like some saw like type stuff with some rough math and some screen filters, comb filters, a little bit of a stepper, and it's kind of just a weird kind of low layer, so it sounds like this by itself. So it has like, it's like a lower octave sort of layer, but it has harmonics. So it combines really well with our next layer, which actually is a snare sample that I used before in drops. So it's no secret that a lot of producers just probably use a lot of percussive stuff and samples in their drops. And I like to, sometimes that's all that there is going on. Sometimes you just have a snare drum and that's someone's drop, and I like to have that as a layer and not as the whole thing. So that's what this sounds like right here. So you can see a little bit of a filter, a little bit of a wow filter, just like a little bit of band reject there and here, and not doing too much with this. Just even though we have the full mix, it really doesn't change too much of the overall sound. So now that's what this one sounds like. And when you combine these two together, it sounds like this. So the next layer is the one that really took quite a long time to change out. So I spent probably like 7 minutes of just finding the right preset, tweaking that one a bit, adding the 2 wow filters. So it was very boring. Like, there was nothing to learn there. It was just me going through my library and finding stuff. So this is kind of like a pluck. I think I did a video on this, probably one of my first massive videos or somewhere in there. I know I've done a tutorial on this preset before. So it's just like a bunch of saws, some noise, and some feedback. Screen filters, I'm a big fan of screen filters, comb filters, and those kind of things in Massive. This is my voice settings, my voice scene. I actually need to bring this up to 12, old preset, so I need to do that. And let's see, you don't have to remake this, just know what the characteristic of this is. So what this sounds like in combination with these 2 wow filters, which is a basic reject one, so it's this is the exact same setting from the snare one, so I copied it over here, and I also have the electro setting. So I think somewhere I've given out all my wow filter settings. If not, I'll put it on my Facebook page again in the download section, the free download section, so that way you have the presets I use. So remind me if you don't see it there. So I just have those 2 combined in this one. What's mostly important is not really what I've added or whatever. You can always make any combination of things to get something similar, but this is just like my hard plucky type of higher layer, so it sounds like this. And I did a little bit of, I used some of that MIDI roll scales that we talked about, I think in the last video. And this doesn't matter right here, so we should actually have had this off already. It was actually kind of messing it up. But right here I'm just using the note length, and it's in a group, so that way I can have some macros on it. So the gate is at 100%, so kind of where it's at by default. But I brought the length down to 26 seconds. So that means each note is only going to be that long, and the gate kind of decides how much of that sound will open up in that time and things like that. So I use that a lot here. I'm not sure if it's a big difference, but you know, this is what I ended up liking, so let's just play with it and without it. That's basically all we did. Other than that, I copied that same MIDI up to a saw layer that we made a few videos back for the progression part. So it's just a saw, so it sounds like this. So I just brought the MIDI up a few octaves there, and let's see. The last thing I was doing was I was playing around with this. So when I ended that video, I ended on not knowing exactly what to do with this layer, but I think in this video, now that we've kind of talked about all this, we can just get into the next part of this. So this part sounds like this now, so I changed that silent patch to Laser Fiend in my silent bank, so it sounds like this. So it sounds cool, but it doesn't really fit in yet, but I do want something kind of similar like that. So let's play all this now together, and I'll mute this last layer on and off because I'm not sure about it. What is really fun to do is just make a new audio track, go to Resampling, and solo the group that you want to work with, and just record it. So let's just do that. So we're going to just solo this and then record enable all this. So I don't know if we're going to get anything cool by using this or whatever, but I always like to just experiment with the resampling at one point. So, you know, if we end up not liking what we do with this, we'll just delete it, and we'll continue on in the next part. But hopefully we get something cool with this. So let's solo this, take a listen, and actually no, let's not do that. I do have an Ableton rack that I like to use that I saved that is really useful for this kind of stuff. Actually, it's down here. Let's see, all of it. So basically what this one is a sampler rack, but has a lot of like things already like mapped to the group, and it's like really great. So we have like a sidechain thing here, so just a basic compressor, a EQ that has like the mappings for vowel type stuff already. So I can easily change this in the mappings, and like it's pretty easy to just get different type of vowel sounds. So the fact that it's already mapped, I just have to like play around with the frequency, the starting point, and pretty easy. So that's what's going on there. And after that, we have an auto filter with an LFO kind of thing happening. So we might turn this one off. We don't need that. And then a chorus with a very slight amount of delay time. So right here you see delay time. So this goes from like 0 to 3 milliseconds. So slight, but this actually is really cool when you start automating this up little by little, kind of like a pitch riser. Just start automating it over like 8 bars, and just does really cool things. It just kind of adds this tension in. So hopefully we'll get to play with that. Then we have a saturator, just kind of driving the sound a bit more. And then after that, we have a different rack, which is just things like the OTT multiband setting in Ableton. So this is just a multiband setting that I like to use. If you have the X for OTT, this is the exact same settings. So it's just a great setting that kind of really squashes things down. Then we have a little bit EQ, just taking off the lows and highs, and then a little bit of reverb. So we might turn this off as well. The reason why I have that there is because depending on the sample I throw in here, we might need to add some space to it if it's too dry or whatever. So we'll leave that on for now, and we'll see how it goes. So the other things that are mapped here so are the blue ones, and the blue ones represent everything in the simpler. So I kind of color coded this to different plugins. So like you know, the blue can change things like the starting length and or the length of the selection and the starting point. So this is a really great sampling rack for me to use. So my idea with resampling was to drag this in there. Let's see, 2 bars of this. So let's consolidate this. And the reason why I only want 2 bars is because that allows me to do more with it. Like the audio is smaller and the sampler can kind of handle that better. So now let's just play around with this. So it's kind of hard to find something, to make something kind of rhythmic. I don't think I'm going to be able to make a lead out of this, so I'm not even going to try. But I did have a different idea of what I could do with this. So we ran out of time again, but I guess we're going to end the video in a weird place again, but that's kind of how it goes. So, you know, if I think about how much time of actual time I've had, you know, from beginning to end or beginning to now so far in the track, that's only been like an hour and like maybe 35 minutes around there. And, you know, a lot of that some of that I've cut out because, like I said, it's like, you know, there's nothing to learn from someone going through their library presets or whatever. So I always try to bring up things like that. What I do recommend is just keep your libraries organized. Make a lot of presets. That's the way you get better at sound design. So it's not about just having a lot of good presets. It's about also like how to make them fit. You know, knowing what to tweak, knowing how to get the nice things out of it. So I guess I could go on and on about that. So thanks guys for watching anyways, and late.